Hello and welcome to Lions Lineup. I'm your host, Chris Drabick, and I'm joined here today by Joe Caputo and Joe Basile. In today's show, our analysts will be giving us their predictions on Major League Baseball's American and National League Divisional Series, as well as their opinions on potential contenders and pretenders in the National Football League. September has come and gone, and we are finally into October baseball. Down to just 8 teams, we're going to break down all 4 Divisional Series matchups. Up first, we have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Joe, first round, what do you guys think?
I'll let you take this one, Joe.
Well, let me tell you, the Pirates looked very impressive in their wild card victory over the Reds. Liriano pitched great, and both teams actually have yet to announce their full rotations, but we're going to assume Adam Wainwright's going to go in Game 1 for the Cardinals, and then Burnett probably for the Pirates. I can't bet against the Cardinals in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, they have a very solid starting rotation, but their bullpen is even better. Trevor Rosenthal's been great in that setup role, and they may even use him in the closer role at this point because Mujica's been a little questionable. But that lineup, a great average with runners in scoring position. The Pirates, they're good, but in a 5-game series, it's a quick one. I'm gonna go with the better pitching and probably the better overall team in the Cardinals.
And not only are the Cardinals probably a better team, they're a lot more experienced in the playoffs. A lot of the guys on Pittsburgh obviously have never been in the playoffs, first time in a long time. But I think that one of the factors that might play in Pittsburgh's favor a little bit is when they return back to PNC Park. If they can win one game in St. Louis, it's going to be really hard for the Cardinals to win at PNC Park. So if they can take a game from St. Louis, in St. Louis, I think they've got a shot, and I'm going to go and say that I think they can do it, and I say that Pittsburgh moves on.
Wow.
I happen to agree. Pittsburgh was rocking last night, but as a Brewers fan, I can't go against the Cardinals there too.
As a Brewers fan, you probably hate all the teams.
As a Brewers fan, I'm still rooting for the Brewers. But moving on, 2 high-powered offenses in this next matchup, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. Joe, what do you think?
I see the Dodgers winning this one pretty easily. They've got easily 2 of the best pitchers in baseball with Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke. Since the end of June, I believe they're 1-2 in ERA for qualified starters. And not only that, when you look at their deep lineup, not only with Puig, Hanley Ramirez, and Adrian Gonzalez up at the top, but comparing that to the Braves, they've been a little decimated by injuries, especially in their bullpen this year, and their offense is just so feast or famine. It's hard to see the Braves winning.
The Dodgers should be the best team in baseball, in my opinion. I mean, with that rotation, with Greinke, Kershaw, Ryu, Kenley Jansen's probably been the best closer in the National League this year, and then that lineup is just nuts. And I think that the one concern that I have in this series is that the Dodgers are pitching Zach Greinke in Game 2 on the road in Atlanta. Greinke at home this year, 2.11 ERA. On the road, 3.21. And his K to walk at home, 5.25 at home. On the road, 2.13. So very big splits there. I'm kind of curious as to why Mattingly went with Greinke in Game 2 instead of Game 3.
Yeah, I could see that again as a Brewers fan. Greinke dominant at home wherever he seems to go. The numbers show he's a little questionable away, but I think, he's been so hot down the stretch, I think he'll be fine.
The Braves strike out so much.
That's the thing.
It's going to be really tough for them to win a series.
But you know what, Joe? I disagree with you. I think you might be looking a little too much into the home-road splits.
With many pitchers, I would agree, but with Greinke, he's
year
the
after
one
year,
pitcher
each year.
That I even have his last year numbers, 2.98 at home, 3.91 on the road.
Still decent numbers, though.
3.91 on the road.
One last thing. Do you guys think the legend of Puig Mania carries on in October?
I think so.
I
think there's going to be some magic in Puig Mania.
You think so?
In the postseason. Yeah,
I think so, too.
Oh, I hope so. I like that guy. He's good. That's it from the National League. On to the American League now. We have a wild card matchup tonight, actually. It is the Cleveland Indians versus the Tampa Bay Rays. The winner of that game goes on to play the Boston Red Sox. First off, who do you guys think wins the wild card tonight, and does it matter against the Boston Red Sox?
Well, unfortunately, when this show airs, we are probably going to be made to look stupid.
I should have mentioned that.
But I'm going to take the Rays in this game, but I'm also just going to take the Red Sox to win the series. The Red Sox lineup seems as if it's unstoppable. And I don't know if that's just because many of the games I've watched from the Red Sox have been against the Yankees, and they have scored, I think, an average of 7 runs a game against the Yankees, or at least it seems. But it's really hard to hold the Red Sox down, and their pitching's not too shabby either. Buchholz, Lackey, Lester. It's a pretty good rotation, and I think that it's going to be good enough to advance them into the ALCS.
I agree with you on both. I think that it's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays that win the wild card game tonight, but it's going to be very tough for them against Boston, especially since they've pitched two of their best pitchers, David Price and Alex Cobb, just to get to play the Red Sox, and so they're already that much further down their rotation. It's not as set up as the Red Sox is going to be, and against that lineup, it's going to be a tough challenge to overcome.
Agreed. Personally, I think when it comes down to the wild card game, anything can happen, but as who's a bigger threat to the Red Sox, I mean, I have to say it's the Rays. The Rays have one of the best rotations in baseball, extremely set up for a 5-game series, and the Rays advance at the shot, but against the Indians, I think the Red Sox will advance. On to our last matchup in the AL West, AL Central. We have the Detroit Tigers versus the Oakland Athletics. Last matchup, guys. What do you say?
Joe.
I'm going with the upset here. I'm picking the Oakland Athletics to beat the Detroit Tigers. When you've got the Tigers with a Miguel Cabrera who's not at 100%. They've shown over the past few postseasons that they've had some success but haven't been able to get it done. And you've got the A's, who I just like them, and so I'm picking them to go. I like the way that they're constructed as a team. I think it's going to play very well in this series. A couple of big pitchers, ballparks, and the way the A's are set up, that plays very much into their favor.
I think this series comes down to Game 2. I think if Verlander wins Game 2, the Tigers are going to win this series, and I think he will. I think that he's going to step back up in the playoffs. I mean, the other two guys, Scherzer and Anibal Sanchez, I mean, you don't really have to worry about those two. They've been dominant all year. And then, I mean, the A's rotation, it's good. It's been good this year. Bartolo Colon is going in Game 1 and Jared Parker in Game 3, but Sonny Gray, a rookie, in Game 2 against Justin Verlander, that is a tall order for the A's. They've done it all year long, and they're the number 1 seed in the or the number 2 seed in the American League, but I'm going to take the Tigers here.
What do you guys think of Leland's call to start Scherzer over Verlander, who's been proven in the past?
I think it was an obvious call to make.
I
even think Verlander maybe should be going in Game 3.
I think it was the right move. Also, Scherzer's clearly been the better pitcher this year.
Agreed. Okay, that'll do it for this portion of Lions lineup. We'll be right back after this commercial break. All right, welcome back to Lions Lineup. Up next, we're going to ask the analysts which NFL teams that have gotten up to a hot start are in it to win it, and which ones are going to fade away come playoff time. All right, guys, I'm going to start you guys off with a meatball here. The Denver Broncos, contender or pretender?
Thanks for the meatball.
Yeah, that was easy.
I mean, meatballs are very nice. They're very tasty, and I'm going to take the Broncos as a legitimate contender. They're the best team in the NFL right now. I don't think that there's any debate about that. And if they don't get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, I think it'll be a shock.
Everything that Joe said, they're a contender. They're the best team, top to bottom in football right now, especially on offense.
I honestly think they have a legitimate chance to go undefeated this year.
Agreed. And the scary part is they still have not gotten back Champ Bailey and Von Miller, two of the best defensive players in the last few years. The offense is clicking, and I think they're, like I said before, in it to win it. Up next, team that took a year off last year but is back to play this one, the New Orleans Saints. Joe, what do you think?
I want to let Joe take this one because he had the Saints winning the division at the beginning of the year. So
I did. I had the Saints winning the division, and I said another team that I believe is on here was not going to make the playoffs, but that's for another day. The Saints are back, and they showed you Monday night against the Miami Dolphins how much of a difference Sean Payton has made, because they were going up against another 3-0 team, their first actual kind of test of the season. They hadn't beaten many people, but to go out and dominate the way that they did, they showed that they are absolutely contenders in that NFC South.
The Saints are back. I mean, there's no question about it. That they were a little shaky in weeks 1 and 2 against the Falcons and the Bucs, scoring in the red zone, but they've turned that around the last 2 weeks. Blowout wins over the Cardinals, and now on Monday night against the Dolphins. This team is a legit Super Bowl contender, and I think that contender-pretender, there's always different definitions to it.
Yeah.
I mean, are they contenders to make the playoffs? Are they contenders to win their division? No, this team's a contender to win the Super Bowl this year again, and a big reason is that Sean Payton is back.
Agreed. I'll be the third to say it. The Saints are back, and the big thing is it seems like their offense can overcome anything that their defense.
Jimmy Graham. I mean, they throw the
He's on a different level
they'll
right
throw
now.
the ball to him in anything. Triple coverage the other day he beat, and it seems like it's easy for him. It's unbelievable the way that they can use him in the red zone.
To have. Up next, a team that no one seems to know anything about going into the year, and we may still not know anything about them. The Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, well, I'm happy that this is coming up on a show where Zook is not sitting here because he would be badgering me left and right. I am finally going to give in and say that the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs this year. Wow. I was looking at their schedule, and it's pretty much cake from here on out. Take away the 2 games against Denver, Tennessee, Oakland, Cleveland, San Diego twice, Washington, and Oakland actually twice as well. I mean, they should win 10 games, especially now that they're already 4-0.
Yeah.
They should win 10, 11 games this year. And I don't think that they're going to be contenders once they get to the playoffs, but I think they'll make the playoffs.
I agree with Joe. You saw some things in the Giants game this past weekend when they took on the Chiefs. They've got a ferocious pass rush.
Their defense is very good.
And they were able to largely shut down Giants wide receivers, very talented wide receivers, with the exception of one busted play to Victor Cruz, without their best cornerback, Brandon Flowers. Their best cover corner wasn't in the game. They were still able to largely shut down the Giants' passing attack. They've got a ferocious pass rush, like I said. They can stop the run on offense. They've got a quarterback who really doesn't turn the ball over. They've got Jamal Charles, one of the best running backs in the league. I think they're for real also. I'd say they're a contender.
The thing they lucked out on is a 2-14 team, a last-place team gets an easier schedule in the following year. Yeah. They get to play the last-place teams in the other divisions, and that's really helping out their schedule. I mean, their schedule may be one of the easiest in football.
Agreed. I think Alex Smith may not be getting enough credit as he deserves because, he's a game manager, and he's really doing a good job of managing the weapons around him. One thing I've noticed watching some Chiefs games that Alex Smith's running around like he's RG3.
He really is running a lot more this year.
If, I don't know who his backup is in Kansas City, but if he gets hurt, that may spell the end of Cinderella's run.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good Alex Smith actually is still. I still don't know. I've been watching him for years, and I still don't know how good he is.
I like him. Up next, my least favorite team, the Chicago Bears.
All right. Well, I think the Bears are actually a pretender.
Good.
They had a home win against the Bengals. Now, mind you, the Bengals just went to Cleveland and lost, so how impressive is that win? They had another home win against the Vikings. Vikings are now 1-3, and they had a road win against Pittsburgh, who is now 0-4. Their one big game, the one big test on the road, they pretty much got blown out against the Lions on Sunday. I know that the score indicated it was only an 8-point game, but that game was a blowout, and they scored a few points in garbage time. I think the Bears are pretenders, and I think they're the third best team in their division.
I'd be inclined to agree with Joe. I'd say they're pretenders. They're getting good quarterback play right now out of Jay Cutler, and they've gotten a lot of turnovers off of their defense. And while they have had a nice history of that, you can only sustain the level of defensive play that they've gotten for so long in this league, especially with the way that offenses are so prolific now, the way they pass the ball. Jay Cutler is going to become Jay Cutler again at some point during this season, and when that comes, it's all going to come crashing down on the Bears.
Agreed. I think Mark Trestman's done a nice job coming in.
He has. I like the way he's using Forte,
Cutler.
too.
Agreed. He's in a different role this year. I just don't think Jay Cutler is going to maintain this level of play throughout the course of the season. Up next, another surprise team coming out of the AFC, the Miami Dolphins.
I'd say the Miami Dolphins are pretenders. You saw they got their first test of the season this week against the New Orleans Saints, and they completely flopped on national television. They're a good team. They made a lot of strides from where they were last year and the year before, but they're not quite there yet. They'll have a good season. They'll probably finish second in the AFC East, but when you're playing the Jets and the Bills 4 times a year, you're going to have a decent year. I'd say they're pretenders.
I think this is the toughest of all the teams that we're going to be talking about today. This is the toughest team to gauge for me because they do have some good wins this year. They went to Indianapolis and beat the Colts, and then they beat the Falcons last week at home. But, then they went on the road and they got blown out by the Saints. They were in that game, though, at the end of the first half until Tannehill threw that pick. It was a 14-10 game. They had the ball with about a minute to go. So I'm not giving up on the Dolphins yet. I do think that they have a chance to make the playoffs this year. But are they a contender in the AFC? I don't think anyone is, other than maybe the Patriots to compete with the Broncos.
Agreed. As far as making the playoffs, with the down year in the AFC North, and who knows what the Texans are up to now, they could sneak in and get that 6th seed. I think it's heavily reliant on Ryan Tannehill coming in and getting the job done. That defense,
and Tannehill shows flashes of being good at times, and then there's also the bad.
Exactly. Moving on, another question mark in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. Joe?
I like them. I think they're contenders. Yeah, I think that the Packers are going to have their hands full with the Lions this year. I think that Reggie Bush adds a whole new aspect to this offense, and their defense has improved too this year. So I like the Lions. I think they're going to be there in the end, and whenever you have the Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford to Calvin Johnson combo, that could strike at any time in the game, and And the Packers being 1-2 right now, they have an uphill battle.
I agree with you, Joe. The one thing that Detroit has been lacking over the past few years was that good running back. And Reggie Bush has been able to step into this offense and provide them with the spark that they needed in the running game. And when you can do that, that just opens up more passes to Calvin Johnson and all the other receivers. And like you said, their defense has even improved a little bit this year. I think they're definitely contenders, and they should challenge for a wild card spot.
I'm a Packers fan, but Reggie Bush is a guy I like to cheer for because, he was one of the most talented guys coming out of college and looked like he was a little washed up into Miami, and he's been totally revived in Detroit now. And I'm not a Lions fan, but, I think good for him.
As long as he stays healthy, I think this team will be there.
Agreed. Up next, we have, I think, a contender out of the AFC, the Indianapolis Colts.
Very impressive, their last 2 weeks.
They certainly have been. They have played well, but they've also cut a couple of games close. You look at Week 1 against Oakland, where they had to have a fourth quarter comeback to win. You look at their loss to Miami. You're getting some mixed signals out of the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not really sure what to think. I'm going to tentatively call them contenders, just because the AFC is a little weak this year, but that might change over the next few weeks if they don't show signs of improvement.
Let me tell you one thing about the Colts, and it really surprised me. When they got Trent Richardson, their defense got better. And I don't know why that was. I think maybe because they're making more of a commitment to the run. 30-plus carries in both of the games that they had Trent Richardson, splitting between him and Bradshaw. But they ran all over the Niners in San Francisco. That is a very impressive win. And then they came home and, I don't know what you want to say about the route over the Jaguars. But I think that this team is legit. I really do. I think that this team has the tools, has the ability to really not only just be a contender in their division. I think they're going to win the division, and I think that you take the Patriots, and I think the Colts are your third best team in the AFC right now.
I can agree with that. I think the defense thing might be just as simple as Trent Richardson coming in, ground and pound, clock management, giving your defense a rest. But Andrew Luck is playing well beyond his years, and I think he has the tools to take this team to the playoffs and far into the playoffs to maybe contend with the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. Up next, we have another wild card in the AFC. Just got their quarterback injured, though, Jake Locker, the Tennessee Titans.
I was starting to gain some momentum with the Titans, but then Locker went down. I don't think that this team is going to be a contender for much longer, and I'm expecting the Titans to fall apart soon.
Same thing. Who was their backup that they ended up bringing? Fitzpatrick,
yeah.
Exactly. Ryan Fitzpatrick. I can't trust a team that's quarterbacked by Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think with Jake Locker at the helm, they're a much better team, but without him, I think they're a pretender.
Locker was playing very well this year.
Yeah. Good news, the injury isn't as serious as thought.
That's good.
There's nothing broken, no surgery. He'll be back in a few weeks, but I just feel without him, there's not much of a chance for Tennessee.
Yeah, I think if he misses more than 2 or 3 weeks, that pretty much shoots their whole season.
Agreed. Another interesting pick, contender, the Cleveland Browns.
Brian Hoyer.
Go with your mind, Joe.
This is let me preface this.
They're not contender.
Yeah,
well, what do you want to preface it?
This is more of a not contender pretender, but in the last 2 weeks, the Cleveland Browns have won 2 games in a row, which hasn't happened since who knows when.
I don't believe.
Do you see an upward trend in Cleveland? Maybe not. Obviously, no. They're not contending for anything. You don't see that?
They played a good in-division game against the Bengals. The Bengals were awful on offense. The Browns' defense, I'll give them, is good, but they can't go anywhere with that offense.
Well, it's so weird about the Browns is when they traded Trent Richardson and it looked like they were trying to trade Josh Gordon, it's like, okay, they had this mindset of, we're just going to mail in the season, we're going to tank it, we're going to get Clowney with the number 1 pick. And now all of a sudden they've won their last 2 games, and you're starting to think, well, maybe they've got something, but I just don't think so. You've seen over the years Brady Quinn stepping in last year in Kansas City, won a game or 2 for them. I don't see the Browns going anywhere.
I was looking to see if maybe you thought Brian Hoyer was the next Tom Brady, but
no.
I don't. He did play behind Tom Brady. But no.
I don't think so either. Last one, the Kings, the NFC least, the Dallas Cowboys.
This division is quite embarrassing. They have 2 out-of-division wins all year so far between the 4 teams, which is
lackluster.
It's bad.
To say the least. I remember before the season, I think the Giants were a pick. I think Zook had the Redskins on this show. the Cowboys seem like they're the team to beat in this division. I don't know how much that means, but they legitimately, I think, can win this division with 7 wins. I think 8 would be a luxury for them. But their defense is good. But then, once again, the Cowboys are that team that they'll be looking good, and then the game against San Diego, 2 steps back, and now they got to work forward again, and now they have the Broncos coming up. They could easily be 2-3 after this week, and then you're talking about, if the Eagles beat the Giants, the Eagles are now tied for first again. So, I mean, this division is going to be nuts down the stretch. I still think that the Cowboys are the best team. I'll say that they're contenders to win the division. I'm not going to say they'll do anything in the playoffs, though.
I agree. This is going to be a situation like the NFC West a few years back, where just a bad team is going to make the playoffs. The Cowboys are the best of a bad division, but I still don't see them as more than a 500 team when it's all said and done. I think that, like I said, they'll make the playoffs, but I'm going to put them as pretenders because in any other division, they wouldn't be making the playoffs.
It's scary to think that with a Cowboys loss this week and a Giants win, improving the record to 1-4, that would push the Giants to 1 game back in the division crown. I happen to agree. The Cowboys definitely contender for the NFC East. I think they will go on to win. Further than that, I don't think anything's going to come of anyone coming out of the NFC East. Well, that'll about wrap things up for this edition of Lions Lineup. Remember, if you are interested in joining LTV, be sure to email us at ltv.tcnj.edu and make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For Joe Caputo, Joe Basile, I'm Chris Draven. Have a good one.